Hello and welcome to another Coffee with Colm, and thanks very much for tuning in. The objective behind this series of Coffees with Colm is where I take elements of my business journey as chronicled in my book Feeding Johnny How to Build a Business Despite the Roadblocks, and discuss a snippet or a lesson over a cup of coffee for about 5 minutes or so on a weekly basis, in the hopes that by me sharing my business journey out there on the World Wide Web, that it can afford you a shortcut where back in the day I had none. Okay, what I want to talk about this week, and indeed in the coming few weeks, is the concept of the three-legged stool and what businesses, solid businesses, can learn from looking at and studying the design of a three-legged stool. Now, why a three-legged stool, I hear you ask? Well, let me explain. We've all of us sat at cafe tables over the years and had those cafe tables wobble. And when a cafe table wobbles, of course, this is what happens. And our coffees get spilled. So how do you stop a cafe table from wobbling? Well, all of us have had the experience of looking around for something to slot under one leg or the other to stabilize the table, and once the table is steady, well, happy days, off we go. The same principle applies to, in fact, four-legged chairs where one leg can wobble back and forth. And what's causing that problem? Firstly, it's likely to be, or could probably be, the floor itself. If the floor is uneven and if there are four legs, well then one of the four legs ends up hovering above instead of resting solidly on the floor. Same with the table. If there are four legs, one leg can find itself hovering above the floor instead of resting on it. If you've got three legs on a stool, or indeed a three-legged table using a pedestal design, the table or the stool will always be rock solid, will always be steady. It's a very interesting concept, and it doesn't necessarily mean, by the way, that the top of the table or the top of the stool would be perfectly level. It is possible that it would be slightly angled, but at least it would be rock solid. And the analogy that I'd like to bring to bear is the analogy that your business and my business can benefit from that particular design, because what we want strong, solid businesses that can sustain impact over the years. So if we assume for a moment that the marketplace in which you or I operate is in fact the floor, alluded to in the cafe example above, and it's beyond our control, it's vast, it's uneven, it's undulating, and assume for a moment that our business is in fact the three-legged stool that operates within the market and therefore sits on the floor, well then let me explain to you why I believe by building three solid legs and no less and no more that you have the best opportunity of building a solid business that in fact has the best opportunity of becoming sustainable. The three legs on the stool, the three legs of business that I recommend that you consider building, and building solidly, are brand, systems and people. Three legs only. Brand, systems and people. And if you're successful at building a brand along with some solid systems and robust systems, and you're successful at attracting great people into your organization, well then your business has the opportunity to grow. So let me talk today about brand and the importance of brand. Dictionary.com says brand is a kind, grade or make as indicated by a stamp, trademark or the like, i.e. the best brand of coffee, which I find interesting given that this is Coffee with Colm. And but that's what they define brand to be. I'm personally fascinated by brands and trademarks. If you take, for example, the swipe on a background, a white swipe on a black background, or indeed a black swipe on a white background, what brand does it represent? You're right, Nike. If you're driving down the road and you come across, in the distance you see a large golden M, what brand does that represent? Yes, McDonald's. And if you happen to be in a school and you see a lunch bag on a desk and the lunch bag has twin gold stars and a purple background, what brand is that? Yes, it's Carambola. Global domination starts here. And so you and I need to give careful thought to our branding, and that includes obviously our logo, and it includes obviously our trademark, but it also includes how our business is represented. I was talking with Colm Campbell of the Campbell family that owns the Bewley's brand, and Bewley's is the best known Irish brand in Ireland today next to Guinness. And Colm himself asked me the question. He said, what is your brand? And then he went on to answer. He said, your brand is everything that you do. So obviously it includes your logo, it includes your trademark, it includes your corporate colours, it includes the livery on your vehicles, it includes uniforms perhaps, it includes your business cards on your website. It includes all those representations. But your brand is everything, and your brand includes the product that you supply or the service that you supply. But it also includes how you answer the phone. It also includes how you treat your staff. It also likely includes how you treat your suppliers and perhaps even how you treat your competitors. Your brand is all pervasive, and everything you do has an impact on your brand, and brands can be very valuable. It's reported that, and my figures are somewhat out of date, but some years back, the Coca-Cola company, the Coca-Cola business, was worth something like 160 billion. But of the 160 billion, 80 billion of it was attributed to the value of the brand itself, not just the business, but the brand itself. So it behooves you and I to give careful thought to our brand. You see, as Colm Campbell said, your brand is everything. It's everything you do. It's everything you stand for. And over the next couple of weeks, we're going to talk about the other two legs on the stool, the three-legged stool. We're going to talk about systems. We're going to talk about people. And we're going to talk about the possible impact, either positive or negative, on your brand. And thank you for joining me for this week's Coffee with Colm. I hope and trust that you got something from it. And what I'd like to do in this particular case is invite you back next week and the week after, where I'm going to talk about the other two legs on the three-legged stool that can be your business. If you've enjoyed what you heard and it's your first time stumbling across a Coffee with Colm, pop to our homepage, colmobrienmotivation.com. Leave us your details there. We'll make sure that you get the links sent to you automatically once a week. In the meantime, consider what's been shared and apply it into your thinking for the next week and see where that leads. And then most importantly, please come back next week for the second in this trilogy, but as part of our Coffee with Colm series, and let's enjoy another coffee together, and I'll share some other snippets and see where they lead both of us. Delicious. Love my coffee. Have a great week. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.